know that the Vatican once employed a hunter whom the world branded a murderer? In reality, he was the one guarding the very gates of hell. He was hunting a devil that neither fire could burn nor silver arrows could stop, Count Dracula, a shadow that had loomed over centuries until a man had to transform into a beast himself to end this reign of terror. Our story begins in 1887, within the dark, haunting walls of a castle in Transylvania. Outside, a torrential downpour rages as thunder shakes the earth. Inside, Dr. Victor Frankenstein is deep into his most controversial experiment. Using body parts from the deceased, he attempts to spark a new life. Gears turn, machines hum, and electric sparks fly everywhere. As a bolt of lightning strikes the body, the monster begins to stir. The doctor screams in a mix of joy and terror. It's alive! But this triumph is short-lived. He knows he has defied the laws of nature. Suddenly, a mysterious shadow emerges from the corner of the room. It is Count Dracula. His demeanor and chilling words immediately reveal that he is no ordinary man. It was Dracula who provided the funding and resources for this experiment. However, he doesn't view the monster as a scientific breakthrough, but rather as a weapon. When Dr. Frankenstein tries to resist, claiming his work was for the good of humanity, Dracula laughs. He only desires the creation that can grant life to the dead. In a fit of rage, Dracula loses his temper and brutally murders the doctor. Outside the castle, villagers gather with torches, fed up with the doctor's dark experiments. Sensing his death, they storm the fortress. The monster, who is actually innocent at heart, picks up the lifeless body of his father and flees. He climbs to the top of a nearby windmill. The angry mob sets the structure ablaze. As the windmill collapses, the monster and the doctor's body vanish into the fiery abyss below. While the villagers believe the evil has perished, Dracula stands in the distance, screaming in frustration. His grand plan remains incomplete. The story jumps 1 year ahead to Paris. We meet Gabriel Van Helsing high atop the Notre Dame Cathedral, chasing a massive and grotesque creature known as Mr. Hyde. It's a thrilling sequence where Van Helsing uses his agility and gadgets to subdue the brute. Hyde taunts him, questioning him about his forgotten past. Van Helsing has no memories. He only knows his purpose, to eradicate evil. After a fierce struggle, Hyde falls from the church roof to his death, reverting back into a frail, helpless human. To the world, Van Helsing is a killer, but to the Order, he is merely doing his duty. Van Helsing travels from Paris to the heart of the Vatican. Here, we see the secret high-tech side of the church, an underground laboratory where the Holy Order keeps records of every monster across the globe. Van Helsing is given a new mission: head to Transylvania and eliminate Count Dracula. He learns about the Valerius bloodline, whose ancestors swore 450 years ago that their souls would never enter heaven until Dracula was destroyed. Now, only Prince Velkin and Princess Anna remain, and their survival rests in Van Helsing's hands. Before his departure, Van Helsing is introduced to Karl, a brilliant yet timid friar. Karl is a unique blend of science and faith. He provides Van Helsing with weaponry that is miraculous for the era, most notably a gas-powered crossbow capable of firing arrows at the speed of a machine gun. He also packs silver chains, holy water grenades, and sunlight bombs. Karl is ordered to accompany Van Helsing to provide field support. The duo travels by carriage through the rugged, eerie terrains of Transylvania. The atmosphere here is a stark contrast to Paris, shrouded in perpetual mist with barren trees and a sun that never seems to reach the ground. As they enter a small village, the locals greet them with hostility. Wanted posters labeling Van Helsing a criminal are plastered everywhere. Suddenly, the village dogs begin to howl, and the terrified inhabitants scramble for cover. 3 terrifying figures descend from the darkened skies. These figures are Dracula's 3 brides, Marischka, Verona, and Alira. They are breathtakingly beautiful yet monstrous vampires with massive, bat-like wings. They attack the village to terrorize the last of the Valerius line. This is where we see the entry of Princess Anna Valerius. She is fearless, facing the vampires with nothing but her sword. The village turns into a chaotic battlefield filled with screams. Van Helsing realizes this is no ordinary skirmish. Van Helsing unsheathes his crossbow and joins the fray. He quickly notices that conventional weapons have no effect on them as they zip through the air, snatching up villagers. Thinking fast, he dips his crossbow bolts into a vat of holy water. He takes aim and fires a bolt directly through Marischka's chest. As the sacred water enters her veins, her body ignites from within, turning into blue flames and crumbling into ash. Terrified by her sister's death, the remaining 2 brides retreat, weeping as they fly back to Dracula. Silence falls over the village. Anna Valerius approaches Van Helsing, but she doesn't offer a warm welcome. She warns him that Dracula will surely seek vengeance for his wife's death. Anna reveals that her brother, Velkin, fell into a river while fighting a werewolf, and she is now alone. Though Van Helsing tries to explain he is there to help, Anna remains skeptical of his motives. That night, a massive black werewolf attacks Anna's home, marking a dangerous new twist in the story, because that werewolf was no stranger. Van Helsing relentlessly pursues the werewolf that attacked Anna's castle. Just as he prepares to deliver a fatal blow, he realizes a haunting truth. The beast is none other than Anna's brother Velkin. A flicker of humanity still remains within him. Velkin leads them to an ancient ruin, where Dracula's minions are orchestrating a sinister plot. Hidden in the shadows, Van Helsing and Anna discover Dracula's horrific secret. He has thousands of offspring, but they are all born stillborn. To grant them life, he needs a massive surge of electricity and the raw power of a werewolf. Dracula shackles Velkan to a colossal machine, using a lightning strike to funnel his life force into thousands of pulsating eggs. Within moments, a swarm of infant vampires awakens and takes flight, darkening the sky as they head toward a nearby village. However, the victory is fleeting. Since Velkan was not a natural source of life, the newborns begin to explode midair, raining down like sticky debris. Consumed by rage, Dracula realizes that only the original Frankenstein monster can provide the permanent spark of life his children need. Returning to the burnt remains of the old windmill, Van Helsing and Anna stumble upon a hidden cellar. There, they find the Frankenstein monster, very much alive but terrified and lonely. Though Van Helsing initially draws his weapon, the creature pleads, "I am not evil, I only seek peace." Realizing the monster is the key to Dracula's immortality, Van Helsing decides to protect him. He knocks the creature unconscious and hides him in a carriage to smuggle him to the safety of the Vatican. As Van Helsing, Anna, and Karl escape with the monster, they are ambushed by Dracula's remaining two brides and the werewolf form Velkin. A high-stakes chase ensues along treacherous mountain cliffs. In a desperate move, Van Helsing rigs a decoy carriage with explosives, successfully incinerating Dracula's second wife, Verona. However, in the chaos, Velkin leaps onto Van Helsing and bites him. Before succumbing to his wounds, Velkin shares one final look with his sister. Van Helsing is now cursed. He is destined to become the very thing he hunts. Dracula's final bride, Alira, abducts Anna and demands the monster in exchange for her life. Van Helsing and Karl track them to a lavish masquerade ball in Budapest. The scene is breathtaking, with thousands of guests dancing in masks, only for the horrific truth to emerge. Every single guest is a vampire. Through sheer wit, Van Helsing rescues Anna, but Dracula's henchmen succeed in capturing the Frankenstein monster. Dracula now possesses everything he needs to unleash his undead army. The trio retreats to Anna's ancestral library, where Karl decodes a cryptic puzzle on an ancient map. He realizes Dracula's fortress, the Ice Palace, exists in a realm between worlds. Karl chants an incantation before a massive wall map, which instantly transforms into a magical portal. Stepping through, they find themselves before a colossal, bone-chilling fortress where death lingers in every corner. Inside the palace, Karl uncovers a startling secret. Dracula cannot be slain by fire, silver, or conventional weapons. The only thing capable of killing him is a werewolf. The legend reveals that centuries ago, a Vatican warrior named Gabriel had originally defeated Dracula. Memories begin to flood back to Van Helsing. He is that warrior. His transformation is not a curse, but the only weapon powerful enough to end Dracula. However, he must kill the vampire before the final stroke of midnight, or he will remain a beast forever. Dracula hooks the monster to his machinery, initiating the transfer of life into millions of eggs. As the moon emerges, Van Helsing's bones shatter and reshape. His eyes turn amber as he transforms into a massive, terrifying black werewolf. A brutal clash begins between the werewolf and Dracula, who has shifted into his monstrous bat demon form. Simultaneously, Anna engages in a fierce duel with Alira, finally ending the bride's life with a silver stake through the heart. As the clock strikes 12, the werewolf Van Helsing lunges, tearing into Dracula's throat. The ancient vampire crumbles into ash, and his million-strong brood perishes instantly. As the threat dies, Anna rushes toward Van Helsing with the antidote, but consumed by his feral instincts, the werewolf fails to recognize her. In the struggle to administer the cure, Van Helsing accidentally strikes Anna. The antidote works, returning him to human form, but it is too late. Anna has breathed her last. As his memories fully return, Van Helsing cradles her body and weeps. The story concludes with Van Helsing performing a funeral pyre for Anna, seeing her spirit find peace in the heavens with her family. He and Karl ride off into the horizon, knowing that while this battle is over, many shadows still remain in the world. Guys, a lot of hard work goes into making these videos. If you enjoyed this explanation, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.